Welcome back to Keen on Australia. We've got another great show on today. We're going to be talking about car finance when you first get into Australia. Obviously, a lot of people want to come, they want to set up, they want to buy a car, they need some help. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Obviously, all of the stuff on our show is educational. We highly recommend that you talk to someone that is a professional and talks about exactly your situation. So it's general advice and educational. Hopefully that helps you. We'll be talking to more people fresh off the boat soon. So people that have been here in the last sort of 18 to 24 months, we'll talk about their experience. Hopefully you enjoyed the one we just did on Suzanne from the UK. She moved over here and is loving it, living it here. And we'll move on to today's show where we're talking about car loans. We've got Georgie here from Smartloans. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi, Darren. Yes, so I am Georgie. I'm a finance broker with over 20 years lending experience. I started out at lending at St. George Bank and then moved on to start my own independent finance brokerage in 2016 because my goal was to be able to help more people and to help fund their dream homes, cars, business equipment, cash flow, and self-managed super fund lending.
Awesome. Obviously, the big one for us today is people relocating to Australia, and a lot of them are going to want to buy a car when they get here. What's the story?
Yeah.
Can people, when they first arrive in the country, can they come to someone like you and get a car loan, or what, is it doable?
Yeah. So, well, it depends what country they're coming from and what sort of visa they will be on. But predominantly people arriving from New Zealand, they're able to apply for a car loan straight away as there's lenders that will accept New Zealand citizens as long as they have a good credit file in New Zealand and they will have stable employment when they come to Australia, and potentially lenders like to see similar industries. So just say in New Zealand, they were doing factory work, for example, and they're doing something similar when they arrive here.
Cool, perfect. And
But
then
yeah,
other countries are sort of a bit case by case, are they, just depending on what visa they're
yeah, it depends what visa they're on. Generally, they'll need to in most cases, lenders like to see at least 6 months employment with the same job when they do arrive. And yeah, and it will depend on what sort of visa class that the people are on when they arrive.
perfect. And then obviously a big one when people are looking at car loans is obviously there's an interest component. How does it work in Australia? Like, is there interest just at the front of the loan? Is there break costs if they get a loan and then decide to pay it out and all those sort of things?
Well, with car loans, the interest is calculated daily and added to the loan monthly. So depending on the lender that's chosen, there's usually an early termination fee if they do repay the loan early. Can range from $700 in the first 2 years to 500 after that. But depending on the type of loan as well, like the type of car loan, because there's different types for whether they're a consumer or a commercial client. So with commercial loans, generally there is a much bigger early termination fee at if it's paid out early. But with consumer, it's generally there's lenders that will waive it, or like I said, $700 in the first 2 years.
Cool. So that's obviously where it probably helps with them to sit down with someone like you and actually plan out what they're going to do and tell the full story of, hey, we need to buy this car, but we're going to buy a home and then look at paying it off so they actually know what they're up for, I'm guessing. So there's a bit more planning around what the fees could be and what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely, I recommend speaking with a broker rather than just going, walking into different lending institutions and not knowing exactly, because they only have one product to basically offer you. So with a broker, I have access to 40 different lenders, so I can work out the best product for each individual circumstance and what their goals are, 2 steps forward.
Awesome. So they get a loan, that's all sorted. They end up buying or wanting to buy this car, etc. Are there any things that are compulsory when they get a loan here in Australia? Are there any insurances or anything like that a must have? Are there any that they can get? What sort of things are out there that they need to know?
Yeah, so generally when taking out a car loan or even buying a car, it's recommended and essential to get comprehensive car insurance. So that covers you and if you have any at-fault car accidents, or also if someone hits you, you're covered if they don't have insurance. So that is a must by every lender if you do take out a car loan, and you need to just list the particular lender on your car policy as the financier. There's also another optional insurance, which is called guaranteed asset protection, which is known as GAP insurance. And that is protection against the potential loss of a vehicle. So, for example, if you have just purchased a car and you've loaned the full amount of $30,000 and you have a car accident 6 months later, and the insurance, the comprehensive insurance only pays out 25,000 just for round figures, the gap insurance will cover you for the shortfall, so you're not left out of pocket to cover that.
Perfect. And then, so obviously that one's a big help if they're a bit close to the line and something happens with the accident or stolen car and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
What about if they lose their job or that? Is there insurance options for some sort of payment cover or anything like that?
There is, like, not that I offer though, but when I used to work at the bank, there was a cover called Consumer Credit Protection Insurance, which covered you if you do become involuntary unemployed or become sick or can't work. It will cover you for a period usually of 3 months with
Perfect.
repayments. Yes. But that insurance is very, like, there's much better insurances out there, like income protection insurance, that sort of thing, rather than taking out the consumer credit insurance.
Awesome. So there's definitely options out there for that.
Yeah.
Now, if they come to you, they can obviously buy a car from anywhere when you're helping with the money. Is it any different if they go to a car yard to buy this car, or if they find one on, say, Marketplace or Gumtree or something like that and buy it privately? Is there any difference with getting the loan? Is there anything extra you got to do or anything? Can you just go find a car and buy it, or what happens?
Yes, so with when you purchase from a car yard, all you need to basically supply is a dealer tax invoice, because generally the car yards are accredited with most of the lending institutions. So the lending institutions are confident that the car yards are, selling cars because they are bound by some sort of warranty. But when it comes to private sales, if you purchase a car privately off a Gumtree or wherever, you do need to do a electronic vehicle inspection. So the seller will receive a link from the lender and they need to do a walk around the car and take different angles and photos, as well as the compliance plate photos. So where the VIN, chassis and compliance plates are. So also they do need to supply a private seller tax invoice. So there's not a huge difference, just primarily the vehicle inspection that needs to be done.
Yeah.
If
So
you
you're just gonna
do
have
buy
someone else check out that the car is actually what it is
yeah,
and what it's worth.
which
Okay.
is which is good anyway, like it's recommended, because there's also checks done to make sure in the background that the car hasn't been a repairable write-off or stolen, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's helpful having someone else check all that for you, especially if you're going to go down the private route.
Yeah, that's
Obviously, you go
right.
down the dealership route, it's a bit easier.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that and you're talking about dealership cars and that, obviously, if they come to you and apply for finance, it's a one-off, it's done, they can go anywhere, look for the car. Is that a lot better for them if they are going to be, say, buying a house, etc., than going around dealership to dealership to dealership and getting all these different quotes and whatnot? Is that quite a bad thing to do for your credit scores and things like that, like going to lots of different places, or does it not really matter?
Well, when you're shopping around, you could, you can find out and get quotes from dealers, but I wouldn't be doing applications because anytime you apply for credit, it does go on your credit file and it does reduce your credit score. So the more inquiries that you do, the less your credit score will be, which will, look, it's detrimental when you do go buy for a house to have a good credit score, and you don't want to be seen as one to be making multiple inquiries because the lenders will question, well, what happened, with each inquiry, and why did you apply for multiple inquiries? Because it looks like you've been declined and you've gone to multiple places to try and get credit. So yeah, that's the reason going to a broker rather than going to multiple different places yourself not only saves you time, which will be, like it's actually a fact that a broker can save customers between 10 to 40 hours on just doing the legwork to find the best loan product for you. So we get to know your unique circumstance and identify exactly what you need, and then we know exactly which lender would suit your needs. So, it just saves you time and also make sure that you keep a good credit file.
Yeah, and that's obviously a very important one for all our people listening that are moving overseas. If they're going to look at buying homes and all those sort of things, is protecting that credit file because when you relocate, it's definitely quite hard on your file, the number of things you have to sort of apply for all at once. So yeah, obviously, if we can keep those to a minimum, that's always great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then what about types of work in that? Like, does it matter if you're casual, part-time, full-time, maybe working for yourself? Do they affect getting a loan?
Yeah, so usually with a casual employee getting a car loan, and you do need to be in casual employment. There is some lenders that will allow 6 months, but predominantly they like 12 months casually employed applicants. If you're permanent, part-time, or full-time employed, usually as long as you've got like I said before, history, like similar employment type. It doesn't matter how long you are employed for in that job, as long as it's permanent. And if you are self-employed, well, generally lenders like to see 2 years ABN registration. However, there is um, car lenders that will accept 1 day ABN and 1 day GST registration with like minimal documentation also for being self-employed.
Oh, and obviously, I'm guessing if you bought a house before you went self-employed, that makes it probably a bit easier to get a loan as well, does it?
Yeah, that's right. If you're self-employed and asset backed, yeah, you can pretty much get a car loan with no documentation. You just self-certify what you earn and just provide proof that you are property backed, and that's about it.
Perfect. Oh, so there's definitely options for everyone out there.
Yeah.
What are the big do's and don'ts of car finance? Like, does it matter how old the car is, or is there any sort of big things that you should or shouldn't do when you're looking at car finance?
Well, most lenders will only take cars that are no more than 12 years old at the end of the loan term. So, generally, most people take out, 5 to 7 year loan terms when it comes to car finance, because it doesn't overcommit you and it meets your affordability that way. But you can always, as discussed previously, pay it off early, but there may be some fees. But yeah, generally look for a newer type car that would meet that criteria. But apart from that, yeah, just no more than 12 years old at the end of the loan term.
Perfect. So obviously the big thing is do your planning beforehand. So get in touch with someone that can offer you the services up front and go over your situation. Try and find a car that was less than 12 years old, wasn't it?
Yeah, at the
End
end,
of your
end of,
borrowing
yeah,
period. Okay. And obviously try and keep to your same industry. That's something we've had come up before with other people in mortgages and things like that.
yeah.
Then obviously discuss your situation and if you need any insurances and those sorts of things. And then after that, they're going to be pretty good to go car shopping. How long do you think it would normally take from someone? Say they moved to Australia, they had their job, they've had their pay slips, they ring you up and say, look, I want to go buy a car. How long do you think it would roughly take to sort the average person out from when they ring you to when they can actually go buy a car?
Probably like within 24 hours.
Oh, cool, that
So
fast.
yeah, so as long as so basically I would send them out like an electronic fact find, as long as they complete all of that and upload any supporting documents that I need, such as identification and pay slip, like pay information generally. Then I can get them pre-approved and ready to go same day.
And
And then it
yes,
could be funded, like just say they found a car the next day, that can also be funded within 24 hours.
cool. And I'm guessing with that documentation and that they really need to get their Australian license sorted before
Yeah,
they, yeah, it's a lot harder with the international documents.
that's right. Yeah, you definitely need your Australian license.
So, as with everything in Australia, obviously, getting your Australian license as quick as possible is a big tick because it's a massive ID form here, and as we've just been told, you're going to need it with car finance and those sorts of things as well. You're going to
Yeah.
need it with rentals. You're going to need it with mortgages. It's one of those ones. If you can get your driver's license the week you arrive, highly recommended.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for telling us everything today about car loans and how people can get them and what they can do them. If there was people out there that wanted some more specific advice and needed some more help, where would they find you? Whereabouts can they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm basically on all the socials on Facebook, Instagram. My handle is at smartloans.biz. Or they could also send me an email, which we could link in the show notes.
Awesome. I'll get all that information up for people and you enjoy the rest of your day. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the show again today. We like to bring you as much content as we can that helps people moving here to Australia. Coming up in the future, we've got some more people fresh off the boat. We've got a rental manager that's going to talk to you about getting rentals and how the process works. And we've also got a mortgage broker coming back on because there's been some changes in that with lending. So we're going to look at that as well. So obviously check out Keen on Australia on Facebook. All of our information is there. If you'd like to come on a show or have anything you'd like to be asked on a show, just reach out through our messenger on there and we'll get it on the show, hopefully. Hopefully, everyone has a great day and we'll see you on our next show.